But what's interesting in the way that the high school dynamics and college sports and recruiting in general is that this has taken on just such a different form, that I don't think anybody really knows what's next. And so that's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Me personally, I'm excited to hopefully be just a dad here coming up and enjoy some of the fruits of the struggles that we've been putting through. But my struggle gives me strength, which is awesome. But there's still a huge need for what's that next phase of of what the game is now. As we know, high school kids, it's getting harder and harder and harder to recruit. Just for the sheer fact that you rather go get somebody out of the portal than wait for a high school player and athlete to develop. And now I don't know, correct, you guys can correct me on this, but I think it's up for uh, a vote that JUCO players no longer lose eligibility, or at least they get to retain one year.
It's for sure
So
passed in
then,
basketball.
go ahead.
Basketball, it's for sure passed.
Is it
So
okay?
like I'm very passionate right now about building relationships in JUCO and also with
Good.
anybody that's in the creative space that wants to tap into that world. I think there's a huge void in the JUCO world. I think it can be done. I think it can be improved, right? I think the JUCO
Absolutely.
experience can be improved. The benefit is the money has moved down, right? So the money's moved earlier, sooner in these people's lives. You don't have to necessarily be a professional to be a professional these days. And so, if you
Mhm.
can create a 1 year to 2 year developmental, truly, really developmental with the resources that you need to do that at the highest level, like you talking about 4 and 5 star, it's the same idea, right? Like you need to be able to have the resources that these kids are getting at the Division 1 level, right, in order to really keep up with them, right, or get ahead. I mean, that's what you're trying to do. But I think there's, and not lose the eligibility, and then you can go be a professional for 4 years, and you don't have to be a pro, right? And so, not
Right.
only are you coming out even, you're coming out on top heading into the workforce, where I think people can really actually do what they're passionate about instead of taking a job that just pays their bills, right? Because they got debt or whatever. So, and I think that would create a better place. But it is passed in basketball. I'm assuming it's going to pass in football. I think that's the sleeping giant in the sports world right now.
Absolutely. And so, I mean, what's that transition look like for these kids? Um, and I think there's going to be a lot of egos that get shattered. I think that there's going to be a new norm of what people are expecting that that D1 or bus journey to look like,
Yeah,
and that's that's something that I think that there's a big need for
yeah. It's
what's coming
less
next.
it's less like D1 or bus. It's more like road to professionalism. You know what I mean? It's more like
Yes, yes,
it's not
yes.
it has nothing to do with that, right? Like you can even go to a lower level D1, and that's not even as good for you if you would have just been patient for 2 years and gone the JUCO route, knowing that you're going to outwork everybody, or that you have some physical intangibles that are different from everybody, or your mental, your mental is different than everybody, and you believe that you can study the game and know more about the game than everybody else, but you just need another year or two to do it. Like that's how I hope kids begin to view this thing. We had a basketball player the other night who had 3 coaches there, all JUCOs, and had a bad night and was walking off the court, and like I the mindset needs to be shifted. It doesn't need to be shifted, but those who do shift it will be rewarded, I think.
Take some humility too. To I don't know. It can be hard to. We like the instant gratification, all of us. So to teach that to high school kids to hold off for something better, that can be a tough thing. So I don't know. It's an interesting time. What's it been like with your own son getting recruited? I know he's got some offers, especially maybe contrasting it to how you were recruited. Maybe some differences there. I'd be interested to hear what that's been like.
It's a great question, and They always mess with me because I guess I'm a boomer because I always say back in my day. So I guess since
Boomer.
you're asking me, I get an opportunity to say that a little bit. Like back in my day, well, and it's funny because it's such an interesting time that back in my day we didn't have the direct line or communication with any coaches or recruiters. Like we really, you either had to know somebody or or somebody had to deliver your VHS film to a coach and they had to take it out the package, the manila envelope, pop it in the VHS. Hopefully it was recorded, push play, and sit there and watch your film. But nowadays, as you guys already know, with Huddle, you can just send out a link. And so I say that, and the reason why I mention that is because it's so hard to get through the noise because anybody can send stuff to you and it's all highlights. And so it really boiled down to how do you have the best relationship with somebody who can put this in front of the decision makers, or at least that's the level of understanding that I have. So for me during this process with my son is I care more about the coaching staff and the coaches that are going to help prepare you and develop you to be a man, and to be a better father figure, to be a better husband, to be disciplined, to be a man of your word. Like I really don't care about any of the rest of the stuff because this game is short lived, and so really finding in that sweet spot between you know what you want and what you need is I- it's what I'm trying to help him find through and decipher while making these decisions. So
It's
I
a
don't know
hard
if that
thing to
makes any kind of
navigate.
sense to you or
No, for
answered your
sure.
question.
No, I mean, it's even like as a professional, like I worked at the college level for a few years as a strength coach. It's hard to, not chase after logos or just higher levels. It's so
Right.
much more about just the fit. Whether that's location or you hit on the staff, just how important that is. Because yeah, he's gonna, maybe it's a 4-year program that he's with, and that's a lot of time with, a strength staff or a football coaching staff. And so they can have a huge impact on, their life. So just, yeah, getting them to realize that and, think beyond just the logo and what the game day atmosphere is like. That can be a hard thing, but it's so important. So I think that's a good way to approach it for sure.